So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and today in this episode of news analysis we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will start with the today's newspaper's front page and then we will move towards important articles of the day, and then we will take an editorial. After that some world affairs and then practice questions which was given to you in the last class, and we will take up today's practice question as well. Okay. So when we are talking about the front page of today's newspaper, you must have heard about this particular tunnel which has been there in Uttarkashi. There were some people or workers stuck there and they were rescued from that particular area. So that is about that, and let's start with the first article of the day. That is, RERA withdraws order banning registration of new property violating building norms. So basically RERA is an organization which basically you can say this is an act which deals with the regulation of real estate. Okay, and they have they have given an order earlier to not register any property which does not follow the norms which are given in the unified building bylaws, which has been notified by the government. But the thing is, after some time, this particular thing was again in news because they are now withdrawing that particular order, because they are saying that there are some concern of several people. They have been coming to the authorities and telling them that they should withdraw this particular order because there were few issues regarding the norms which has been given in the this unified building bylaws. Okay. So here you can see the RERA has decided to withdraw its September order all sub-registrar in Delhi not to register any new property that does not conform to the Unified Building Bylaws 2016. So these laws were given in 2016, and they have said that if any building or construction which is not following these bylaws, you should not register that particular thing. Okay. So now it is that in the light of the complaints from the several people who said they were facing problems in getting their land and flat registers following the RERA order, that is why now that particular order is being reviewed, and registration process at all the sub-registrar offices practically coming to stop. Because of this particular order, all the registration process has come to stop because of certain guidelines which are given in this particular bylaws, which has not been fulfilled, and because of which people are facing some kind of problem in registrations. Okay. Now when we are why this is a cause of concern, because registration of land or the sale deed is one of the main source of revenue for state governments. Okay. So here you can see registration of land and sale deed is one of the main source of revenue collection of the government. It is not only creating problem for the public, especially middle and lower income group, but for government's exchequer as well. Okay, so ultimately that source of revenue is being compromised because of this particular order. Now government is now considering to take that order back. Okay, so that order has been withdrawn now. Unified building bylaws, what are these particular laws talking about? These are comprehensive regulation. These are established by the local authorities regarding the construction in the area, okay, or construction in the jurisdiction. Okay, so they are giving some kind of building norms. This is for the streamlining the process of construction everywhere, or you can say standardizing the process or the norms of the construction everywhere. Okay. So these are established by the local authorities to govern the construction and development of the buildings within a particular region or jurisdiction. Okay. These laws aim to streamline and standardize building codes, procedure and regulations, ensuring uniformity and consistency in the construction practices. Okay. So that is one aspect of it. Now if we are talking about this particular act RERA, so let's have a look at it. What is this particular act talking about? Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016. So basically this act came because of, you can say, let's say it was a consumer or customer or consumer centric approach. Okay, all those persons who are buying the houses, for them this law was taken because they were trying to make the process transparent. Okay. So it is its primary goal is to regulate the real estate sector, ensure transparency and protect the interest of the home buyers. Home buyers are basically your customers. Okay. RERA mandate that each state and union territory established its own real estate regulating authority, that is RERA, to oversee real estate market it requires developers to register their property or project. Whenever a developer is going for an advertisement, before that he has to register this property with RERA, okay, and he has to follow certain kind of guideline. They need to provide accurate project details, okay, then timelines, layout plans and financial aspects, promoting transparency. So basically they have to give all the details of that particular project, and they have to comply with the norms of RERA, and if they don't, there are provision for penalty, okay. So when all these details are in the public domain, it would be very easy or transparent for a home buyer to consider that particular property, okay, or consider or even reject in case they are not conforming to their demands, okay. Moving further, you can see RERA aim to safeguard interest of the home buyers by ensuring that developers adhere to the promised timelines, quality and specifications. Since all these timelines, qualities and specifications are in the public domain already because of the RERA guidelines, now they can go for any accountability of the contractor or the project owner, okay. It also mandates that deposit of the project fund into an escrow account for the project specific expenses. These escrow accounts are basically accounts which are based on conditional withdrawals. Whenever you want a money, there should be a condition. That condition is basically, when we are talking about this particular project, whenever you want to withdraw, that should be related to that particular expense of the project only, okay. That is to ensure that the money which has been raised by the home buyers, okay, for the project, the money which has been raised by the constructor from these home buyers for the construction of that particular project, do not utilize anywhere else or any for the let's say for the personal purpose, okay. So that is to avoid any kind of fraud or at the end of the constructor or the builder, okay. Penalties for the non-compliance. All these norms are to be compliant by the builder, and if they don't, there is penalties, even they can go to jail for that. Dispute resolution by providing a platform for both developers as well as buyers to address the grievances in the timeline manner, okay. This particular authority provides for a dispute resolution platform. So that is about RERA, okay. So moving further, we will start with the second article, that is finance ministers suggest tighter cyber norms, closure of Mule and interbank accounts. So basically here we have I guess in the last session I have told you that there are some kind of cyber fraud, cyber or digital payment related frauds. To address such fraud, they have gone for a meeting and they have invited all the stakeholders, and they have discussed some issues and then suggested few things, okay. So among those suggested few things, there are certain things. Let's say here you can see suggestion for tackling cyber security issues and related to or cyber fraud related issues, okay. Closing Mule bank account. What is Mule? I'll tell you, okay. We'll see what is Mule or Mule, okay. Closing Mule bank accounts used for the fraudulent activities. These accounts are basically used for the fraudulent activities, or you can say any kind of fraud related activities. Now how these fraud are performed, we will see on the next slide. For now, you just remember that they have suggested to close such accounts, okay. Then Gujarat's model discussed, suggesting that there should be a nodal officer for cyber security in every state's bank, okay. So when there is a state's bank, so you have to have a nodal officer to look into matter of cyber security, okay. Enhance monitoring of the dormant accounts. Dormant accounts are those accounts which has not been used for a long time, okay, and then if they suddenly become active, okay, so we have to monitor such accounts. They are saying that if a dormant account becomes active suddenly along with certain restriction on the withdrawal. So let's say there is an account in which there were only 50 rupees for like 6 to 7 years, okay, and suddenly there is a transaction, and transaction receives some, let's say rupees 50,000. This account has been dormant for like 6 to 7 years. Now they have received this particular amount, and he has withdrawn that amount within like some hours or let's say 1 day, okay. In that case, we can see that there was some kind of fraudulent activity or some kind of suspicious activity over here, okay. So we need to monitor such dormant accounts, okay. So monitor such dormant account. If there is any kind of sudden activity, monitor that. Other than that, provide certain restrictions on the withdrawal, if there is some kind of activity, let's say he has deposited 50,000 rupees from some unknown source, but there should be a restriction to withdraw that money. There should be a timeline or some, let's say a time period to withdraw some this particular money, not within hours, not within days. Okay, so at least let's say if there is a sudden activity, you can give them a 48 hours of the window, and till then you cannot withdraw that money. Okay, in that case we can look into the suspicious activity if there is any kind of fraud related to it or not. Okay, so that is for the monitoring of the dormant accounts. Increased information sharing among the government agencies. All those agencies or the regulators which are looking for all these cyber security related issues or banking related issues, finance related issues, they have to go for information sharing within themselves. Okay, and then blocking of suspicious mobile numbers and exploring EMEI blocking. So basically, if there is a any activity from suspicious mobile numbers, okay, you can go for the IMEI blocking. Okay, so that ultimately what happens is these people or these fraudsters, what they do is they use these different mobile numbers to contact different people and to perform any kind of fraud. Let's say they will kind of behave like they are someone else, and then they will ask you to deposit some money. Okay, you will deposit some money to a particular account, they will transfer that money to a Mule's account, and then that Mule will withdraw that money or transfer into some other account. Okay, so that is about blocking of suspicious mobile numbers if there is an activity going on there. Bank instructed to reduce response time to take swift action against the fraudsters. So response time, basically yesterday we must have discussed that if there is a payment more than rupees 2000 through any kind of digital payment mode for the first time, okay, within two members for the first time, in that case there should be a time period of at least 4 hours that is being suggested. Okay, so ultimately they are saying that there should be some kind of response time, reduce the response time. Okay, now let's see here what is money mules or mule accounts. Okay, money mules are nothing but some intermediary. They do not know what kind of activity they are involved in. What happens is that a money mule is a person who transfers the stolen money or the money from any kind of fraud to on behalf of others. Okay, so let's say there is this person who has performed a fraud. Okay, and he has let's say asked someone to let's say he asked someone X to deposit some money into account number 12XX. Okay, he has given that money into that particular account. Now this account is of a mule. Okay, and now this mule will transfer this money to the another account. Okay, that would belong to this particular fraudsters. Okay, so now what if at all something happens, he will be on the radar and they will not. Okay, so that is one thing Mule are performing. They are actually transferring the stolen money on the behalf of others, usually through their bank accounts. Okay, their own bank accounts. Criminal contact these people and offer some kind of cash or commission. Let's say they are saying that on 50,000 rupees they will be given 10%. Okay, so for such incentives they are going for such activities, and because of lack of employment also they are doing all these things. Okay, so criminal contact these people and offer them cash to receive money into their bank account and transfer it to another account. This person is known as money mule. Okay, so he is basically the courier. Okay, he will be the courier of the money from one account to another account. Okay, and now what is the money used for? This money what has been transferred by the mule to the another account is used for any kind of crime. Okay, so because that money cannot be traced now because it has been given to another account, and if at all if you go for a case filing वगैरह, this particular person will be on the radar. Okay, so why would someone become a money mule? As I told you, this is because of the, let's say these people are vulnerable for money or in the need of money, or they do not have any kind of employment, because of which they go for such activities. How do criminals target money mules? They can go for, let's say some kind of incentive, quick cash, or they can target some people from the social media. Okay, after that, how are money mules caught? Okay, banks have system in place to detect suspicious activity and authorities are notified then. So basically what happens is, as I told you, that if some dormant account is there, this person is in need of money, account is dormant for a while, now he has received some activities like this and he has transferred some 50,000 rupees. Okay, so now he is on the radar and ultimately they will be caught. Okay, what happens when the money mule get caught? Their bank account will be closed. They will find it difficult to get a loan or other banking related services, and they could go for prison up to 14 years. Okay, so ultimately they do not know what crime they are involved in, so we cannot go for any further thing. We can only go for the closing the account. If at all there is a heinous crime attached to it, they can go for prison up to 14 years. Okay, how can I avoid money mule schemes? Okay, so you have to be aware, there is nothing else. You don't have to go for such incentives, etc. Okay, in simple words, if we talk about how this particular thing is, let's say there is a money mule opens a bank account. Okay, there is a bank account. This particular person, let's say A, he is the money mule, he has opened it, and now he has taken some kind of illicit money deposit into this particular account. Okay, so from some X or unknown source, there is a money which has been deposited into this particular account. Okay, and now he has been asked to transfer this money to another account. Okay, so he will transfer this money to another account. The black money is moved to third party account. So now basically he has moved this particular money to third party account, and then this money is withdrawn or converted into cryptocurrencies. Okay, now when this money is withdrawn, it cannot be traced, and if it is converted into cryptocurrencies, that in that case also it cannot be traced. So basically that can be used for any kind of crime. Okay, so this person cannot be traced ultimately. Okay, so that is about your money mule and frauds related to this particular thing, and what is government doing to ensure that these activities are somehow restricted. Okay, moving further, journey of a vote, how EVM postal ballots make their way to a voters and back. So basically when we are talking about EVMs are machines which are being used for the casting the vote. Okay, so ultimately what happens is, first these machines, what happens that these machines are basically checked, and they are clubbed together and sent to the returning officer. Okay, and now returning officer will basically keep them in a strong room or storage room. Okay, ultimately whenever that storage rooms or strong rooms are opened, all the members of the, or let's say all the candidates or representatives of the candidate, they will be present over there. Okay, and so that is one thing about the EVMs. So once the votes are casted and elections are over, that returning officer will keep them under their own custody. If the counting the area of counting, or let's say the place of counting is different from the headquarter of the returning officer, then these EVMs will be transferred to that particular counting area. At that particular point of time also, the time of transferring etc. will be notified to the candidates of the election, and then candidates will be present at the time of transferring them. All these things will be packed, and guards will be transferring these things to the counting places where counting is to be taken place. So this is about EVMs. Then when we are talking about this postal ballots, okay, so there are few people, or let's say who cannot come for the voting, okay, or otherwise they are in the services or they are on the electoral duties etc. In that cases what will happen? Okay, so if they are in let's say defense services or any kind of service for the nation, if they are there and they cannot come for casting the vote in the defense, so what will happen is they will these postal ballots will be sent there, and there will be booths will be created over there, and elections will take place over there for like 3 to 4 days before the election, which has to be conducted in the constituency. So basically that will happen over there, and then the officer in charge over there will take all those postal ballots and then come to the returning officer. Returning officer will keep it with their custody. So okay, so let's see why we are talking this, because in a video that went viral on Monday, Congress worker in Madhya Pradesh were confronting election officer for opening strong room where postal ballots has been stored, raising question about the security of ballots and the EVM. Okay, so now the election personnel are saying that they have the candidates has been notified for this particular thing. Okay, election commission has not said anything yet, but let's say how these postal ballots and EVMs are working. Okay, so what postal ballots and where does EVM journey starts? Okay, so service voters, absentee voters, those who are above 80 years or those are having any benchmark disabilities, or those are infected by the COVID etc. All these people who cannot come to the constituency for the voting, or they are on the electoral duty and under the preventive detention, etc. So what they will do is that they are sent a postal ballot by the returning officer, okay, so via post, or in case of voters on the election duty, visit a facilitation center. So basically, if they are at their home, they will be sent through post. So postal ballots will be sent through post, or if they are on the election duty, then they will be sent on the facilitation center, okay. And when we are talking about EVMs, so there will be some first level checks and randomization exercise which has been completed. After that, these EVMs are to be handed over to the returning officer under armed police escort, okay. Now they are to be stored in the air conditioner strong room in the presence of representative of the political parties, okay, and till the polling day those EVMs will be remaining over there, okay. After that, where EVM stored after votes are casted, okay. So sometimes elections take place in the multi phase, okay. So there are you can say a difference of at least 1 month in some cases where our elections are happening in phases. Let's say when we are talking about this particular phase of election where 5 states are going under assembly elections, so they started in the November 7, and now the counting date is December of 3rd of December, sorry, okay. So there is a gap of nearly, you can say, 1 month, okay. So after voting is over, all the EVM and VVPATs are escorted back to the collection or reception centers, okay. So they are sent on the reception centers and the collection centers, where they are again stored in the storage rooms, okay. All candidates have to be informed about this, and all are allowed to send their political or say representative over there to check the security arrangements. So ultimately what happens after voting is over, returning officer will send all these things to the collection center or the reception center. There they will store again be stored in the strong room, okay. So that is about this. And when we are talking about the postal ballot or the absentee voters, so they, if there is a person who is on the electoral duty, so facilitation center in charge will open the drop box at the evening, okay. Every whenever elections are there, at the evening of that particular day, he will open that drop box, and then he will collect all the postal ballots and put it into a bag, and there will be a format form format number 1. All the number of postal ballot has to be recorded in this particular thing, and then it will be sent to the returning officer, okay. That is to be performed at each day of the election, okay. After that, it will remain under the custody of the RO or the returning officer in the special strong room, okay. Then when we are talking about these absentee voters, or let's say those people who cannot come, okay, so booth level officer will be sent to their home, okay, let's say 4 to 5 days before, and then they will be given the that particular postal ballot, and after then return within the 5 days of the notification of the election to collect the filled in form. So once they are there after the election, after 5 days of the election, that particular person will come and collect all those postal ballot from you, okay. And then it will be submitted to ROs on the daily basis. When we are talking about this essential services, the special postal voting centers are basically created over there, and then voting will be happening over there 3 to 4 days prior to the constituency, and then all these things are packed and will be sent to the returning officer, okay. So that is about your journey of postal ballots and EVMs. So EVMs will be started their journey after the checking, and then given to the ROs, and then election will be performed, and then it will be sent to the collection centers. These postal ballots are when we are talking about the facilitation center, the in charge of the center will open the drop box, collect the postal ballots, and fill in a form. Number of ballots will be marked in the form, and then send it to the returning officer on the daily basis. When we are talking about the essential services, etc., or absentee voters, so there will be a voting booth created over there 3 to 4 days prior to the elections, and then those things will be sent to the returning officer again, okay. So that is the process of your journey of a vote in case of EVMs as well as the postal ballot, okay. So that's about this particular news item. Let's move ahead. Amid legal challenges over pending bills, Kerala governor clears one and 7 to the president. So recently you must have heard about this Punjab government going to the Supreme Court against the governor and saying that he is sitting on the bills. The same instance has been happening in the Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Supreme Court has said that governor cannot do that. They have to either give the assent, withdraw the assent, or consider send it for the reconsideration, or reserve these things for the president's assent. Okay. Now ultimately what happens is, in this case, the governor of the Kerala, he has cleared one bill and then sent other 7 to the president. Okay. So ultimately they are saying that the governor's conduct threatens to defeat and subvert the fundamental and the basis foundation of the constitution, including the rule of law and democratic governance, apart from defeating the rights of the people of the state to the welfare measures sought to be implemented through the bills. So basically they are saying that governor is kind of misusing their power over here. Okay. Because law making is inherently the power of legislature, and if you are sitting on the bills, that is against the spirit of the constitution. Okay. We have discussed this particular issue earlier as well, so I will not go into details of this. And then long road to healing. Recently you must have heard about this Manipur violence and the family. There are some nearly 175 deaths over there, out of which 169 people has been identified. Okay. And nearly 81 bodies has been claimed. Other than that, all bodies has not been claimed yet. That is because of the pressure from the civil society. The family members of these particular people who has been the victims of this violence are pressurized by the civil society not to collect the bodies until the demands are met. So when we are talking about such incidents where such things are happening over there, when civil societies are pressurizing the family members not to collect the bodies, you can see the level of distrust in the state. So there is the trust deficit in the state. Okay. When we are talking about this particular area or Manipur, I must have explained the geography, etc. So Manipur, somehow Manipur looks like this, you can say. Okay. So somewhere like this, and then this particular area is a valley region. Okay. It is dominated by a community named Methi. Okay. And then this is the hilly area. In the upper part there is Naga community, and in the southern part there are Kukis, Zomi, Mizo, etc. So there are different communities living over here. Okay. So there is a clash between all these communities over here because there is a developmental disparity. Okay. They are demanding separate land for their own communities. When we are talking about this valley, this is nearly 10% of the area and inhabit around 45% of the population, or even more than that. Okay. And when we are talking about this particular place, this is a hilly area having 90% of the geographical feature of the state, and then it inhabits nearly 55% of the people. But when we are talking about the development, this area is more developed. Okay. This area is developed, politically influenced area, and there are you can say well connected, etc. So because of which there has been a developmental disparity, and there has been an inherent issue within these particular communities. So they go for clash again and again. When we are talking about Nagas, Kukis, Zomis, there has been some kind of ceasefire agreement that has been signed by the government with, let's say, in Nagas. When we are talking about Nagas, there has been a ceasefire agreement in 1997 which has been signed by them. Okay. And then when we are talking about this particular Kukis, in 2008 there was a ceasefire agreement or suspension of operation agreement which has been signed. When we are talking about this Methi insurgents, there is no such talks or agreements has been signed with them. Or in fact, this is the first time with the initiative of the state government, Methis will be talking to the state government. Okay, they will be on the table of for the talks or the negotiations. Okay, so that is a step in forward direction. But again, we can say that there is a lot to do when we are talking about this particular state. Okay, there is a level of mistrust between the communities and the government. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about the displacement of the people, now state has to do a lot about them. They have to basically go for rehabilitation of all those people. Okay, when we are talking about there was this committee named Zaza committee. So the Zaza committee in 2014 recommended that state has to work in the critical issues of, let's say, education, health, migration, employment, etc. Okay, displacement. So all these things are yet to work upon. Okay, and then once there is a peace, or one, let's say, this particular step by the state government regarding the Methi communities talking to the government, if that gives any kind of concrete result, after that we can ensure there is some kind of peace in that particular area and work on the education and health infrastructure over there. Okay, so that is about this article. We have discussed it in a very brief manner, so you can give it a read. There is nothing more to discuss in that. Okay, so let's move ahead. In the world affairs, you must have heard that Israel has given 2 more days of this particular humanitarian truce, which has been in the news for a while. Earlier it was for 4 days, and now it has been extended to 2 more days, and now we are expecting that this particular thing can extend, and Israel has said that we can extend it if Hamas promise to can release at least 10 hostages every day. Okay, so that is one thing which is a positive sign in this particular area, because for like 7 to 8 weeks now this particular area was in the war-like situation. Okay, Blinken's returns to Israel this week seeks to extend the ceasefire. Everyone is trying to extend this particular ceasefire. Okay, they are trying to find a way to extend the ceasefire in the Gaza and get more hostages released. He is coming to the region. There will also be some meetings with the NATO and the Organization of the Peace and Security in Europe with respect to the Ukraine focus talk. Okay, the Ukraine is also under the war-like situation with Russia, so they are kind of talking about this particular situation, and on the lines of this, they will be visiting. Blinken will be visiting Israel, and they are talking about this extension of the ceasefire agreement. Okay, other than that, you must have heard that most of the states are now calling for the 2-state solution. Okay, Israel's right to defend itself consistent with the international humanitarian law. So basically here they are saying that, Blinken is saying that Israel's right to defend is on the lines with the international humanitarian laws, continued effort to secure the release of remaining hostages. So basically they are saying that there are 2 or 3 goals in this particular region. That is, one is Israel's right to defend itself from the terrorist activities. Second is continued effort to secure release of the remaining hostages over there, and then protect the civilians in the Gaza Strip. Okay, so that is the third thing, protect civilian life during the Israel's operation in the Gaza and accelerate the humanitarian assistance to civilians in the Gaza. Okay, so these are the 4 immediate actions to be taken in this particular area. When we are talking about the long term plan, 2-state solution is the thing. And they are saying that Israel must limit the civilian displacement. So they have said that if at all you start this activities, warlike activities in this particular area again to replace the Hamas, or so to eliminate the Hamas, you should go for limited civilian displacement, or the, you can say, minimum civilian displacement in the area. Okay, because that region has seen a lot in like last 7 to 8 weeks. So now it is time that we go for some truce or peace like situation in that region. Okay, so that is about world affairs. Then from the science and tech, we have taken this particular article, first human case of flu strain similar to pig virus has detected in Britain. Okay, so for your examination point of view, you have to remember that first human case of flu strain, that is AH1N2V, that has been recorded in the Britain, and this is similar to a virus currently circulating in pigs. Okay, and from the different cases which has been found worldwide, they are different. Okay, when we are talking about this particular strain, it is different from the more than 50 cases which has been found after 2005 worldwide. This is different. Okay, you don't have to go into details of this. Only thing is you have to remember is that this strain of flu is particularly kind of similar to a virus which is circulated among pigs. Okay, so that is about this article. And then NASA to train Indian astronaut for ISS mission. So basically you must have heard that India is trying to place a Indian space station by 2035 and first Indian on moon by 2040. So basically these are the aspirational mission by Indian Space Research Organization. Prime Minister has talked about all these things, but now recently we are talking about that NASA will help us to send an astronaut in Indian Space Station by 2024. Okay, we have different collaboration with NASA, and this is one among them. So NASA will train this particular astronaut for India, and the selection of this particular astronaut will be on the basis of the 4 astronaut which has been trained already in Russia for the Gaganyaan mission. One among them will be going for this particular mission as well. Okay, so we are going to deorbit our space station in 2031. So NASA is saying that we will be deorbiting our international space station, which is in the place by 2031. We expect by that time to have a commercial space stations. If India want us to counsel or collaborate with them, of course we would like to do that, or we will be willing to do that. Okay, so since they are deorbiting their own space center and we are aspiring for that, so they are going for calling for some kind of collaboration on that. Okay. And there is another mission, that is NISAR satellite launch in 2024. This particular, when we are talking about this NISAR satellite, it will be launched in 2024. It is an Earth observation satellite. It will be observing the activities on the Earth from the radar technology. Okay, using the radar technology to monitor the changes on the Earth's surface. Okay, so there will be some other observatories as well, and including all these observatories, they are trying to create a 3D model. Okay, or 3D monitoring, you can say. Okay, for the events like let's say earthquake, landslide, etc., they can use this particular 3D model to monitor all those events. Okay, so that is about NISAR satellite launch in 2024, and then NASA to train Indian astronaut for ISS mission in 2024. Okay, so that is about this particular mission. And let's see the practice question which has been given to you in the last class. So let's say, which country share the longest border with Myanmar? Options are Thailand, China, India and Bangladesh. You can see the map here. Okay, so when we are talking about India, we have this particular area with Myanmar, and then when we are talking about China, you can see this is the region which has been shared by China. So China has the longest boundary with Myanmar, and then there are other countries like let's say Thailand, Laos, etc. So here you can say go for China. And then moving forward, among the following, who are typically used for intermediaries to move illicitly acquired funds? Okay, we have discussed it. Options are A, money carriers, B, money custodians, C, money mules, and D, money smugglers. Okay, so you have to attempt this question and answer in the comment box. So let's see the practice question for mains. Discuss the impact of RERA on Indian real estate sector and significance in the ensuring transparency and the protection for the home buyers. So ultimately, we have talked about this RERA Act of 2016. Okay, I have discussed the limited provisions of that. That would be enough for your writing this particular answer. Okay, so that would be all for this session. I'll take a leave now. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.